Yeah. Um. Yeah. So to fill in for people who's just gonna be watching the episode, it's just what it was. We was at the gym closing, and we was talking about how trainers be stuck in one lane when they train. Like you get to the gym and you just see people doing the same kind of workouts. They don't never switch it up. They don't never switch it up. And so Bass and I were just going talking through that. Um, yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about like some of maybe you could talk about some of the different type of workouts that you have done. I know you participated in track. I know you played football. So and obviously you lift. So yeah, just talking about like what kind of different modalities of training that you've done.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a fact when I was playing football, like I used to do like a lot of like athletic. That was before I had an actual like a strength and conditioning coach. I was playing college football. I was did college football. You feel what I'm saying? I was a running back, so it was a lot like mobility work, like especially a lot of explosiveness. You feel me? A lot of hand cleans. We probably did like a compound. We had a compound movement for every day, and we lifted 3 times a week. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like, we was probably doing like, I don't know. One day, Monday was like squats as a compound movement. Wednesday was cleans, and then no. Monday was. I'm trying to remember. Damn, I'm forgetting. But Monday was bench. Yeah. So Monday was bench,
Mm,
Wednesday was cleans, and then Friday was squats.
I see.
But like it wasn't like a push pull legs in a type of sense where we was doing mainly pushes, mainly pulls, and then mainly legs on a certain day. It would be a mix of everything on that day. But it would make sense, you feel me?
Yeah. And it seems
Like
like it was built around developing power, not necessarily just strength training. Because if you're playing football, it seems like what you would need to do is, you know, quick burst of high intensity exercise, and then you set up for the next play, and you just keep doing that on repeat.
yeah, essentially yeah. So he was building basically our muscle endurance, our our muscle stamina, our power, and the main one was explosion.
Yeah.
But I think we did like 30 minutes of just straight warm ups. was it was crazy. Like I'm telling you, I was drenched in sweat by the end of the warm up.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's really how it should be, though.
Long warm ups. I mean, I believe in muscle potentiation. So like before I do heavy squats, I like to do box jumps, and I'm not doing them to tire myself out. I'm just doing them as a warm up. So yeah, I'll be sweating after the warm up, but I didn't really exert. It's just because I'm starting to get into the swing of things. Make sure that I feel like I'm developing my power. Make sure that I feel right with my hip, my knees, and all that. So I mean, I'm not opposed to long warm ups, and I feel like if you do that correctly, you could have an even better lift afterwards. So
It, yep, exactly. For example, like I remember like my leg days, but like no matter the day we did, the warm up was always the same,
mm,
regardless on what we were working on. You feel me? Because it would essentially be a full body workout,
mm-hmm.
just like depending on certain areas. So like I guess we'd have a bigger. It would always be the compound accessories. No. Before we even got into the compound to the movements, we'd always do activation first. After the warm ups, it was activation. So that's even another warm up.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying?
Just a little bit more specific.
Just a little bit more specific to the movement we were about to do.
Mm-hmm.
Feel me? Like if it was legs, we would do some band work for our legs, get it right, and then after that we would go into squats. You
Yeah.
feel me? But even then, I remember when I first started doing the lifts, I couldn't get as deep as I could by the end of like after I progressed a couple weeks, like I could see the progress happening.
Hmm.
And on top of that, I could see my actual like my speed getting faster. I was getting a lot faster because like I was more mobile in my hips because I was stretching
Right.
for you feel what I'm saying? Like those warm ups were actually very beneficial.
Yeah.
Like even now, I just all I do is lift. So even now, like I can say for a fact that I'll actually sit there and warm up. If it's not for 15, I'll do it for 30 minutes. I'll stretch before especially when I hit legs, I will stretch before I hit legs because I know that's going to really open my hips up and it's going to allow me to get if I want to get deep that day, then I'll go for deep squats.
Hmm.
You feel me? Or get at least close to at least 90 degrees on my squat.
So now let me ask you this. So that
Mhm.
was when you're playing football.
Yeah.
How does that differ from like when you're training for track? The lift, I'm sure you had to lift during your track season, maybe
Yeah.
throughout the week or before a meet. What was the difference there? Like how are the lifts different? Were you still trying to develop power? Was it geared towards something else? What was that like?
So I mean, it really depended on like the day for real. You feel what I'm saying? So like I used to we used to go to the gym over there and go lift at like somewhere else um twice a week, right? Me, I couldn't really go there all the time. I probably do one lift a week with them with the team. I only be able to go to one team lift a week
Okay, hold
because
on. Just for clarification, you're saying there's a gym like outside of the training facility that your the team was required to like have a team
yeah,
lift.
yeah,
Okay.
essentially.
Okay.
So right, I go over there because I mean he basically just had more equipment for us to use and it was geared specifically towards athletic performance. You feel what I'm saying? So it was basically the same type of lift I was doing when I was playing football, but just like a different type of routine. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like
So
I
like
could say for a
cleans.
fact I wasn't doing like more lifts. I was doing more plyos for sure.
Okay.
I was doing a lot more plyos for sure, right? But not only that, we would also do strength and power
Mm-hmm.
as well as like I don't know isometrics. You feel me? Because he wasn't really big into like he felt like there were more workouts. For example, he didn't have us do cleans. Like he never made us clean.
Okay.
But when I was playing football, it was the same way with the other coach. Like he made us do cleans, but he didn't make us do deadlifts. But when I was at for track, I did deadlifts. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
It just depended on the coach and it kind of depended on their training style.
I,
Like
I feel
some
like
like
cleans translate a lot better into sport if I'm being honest. For
yeah,
at
but
least for developing power.
his ideology was basically that there were other lifts that you could do that translate better than cleans, essentially.
Like
And
what?
I mean, like for example, he made us do. I forget exactly what it was, but he made us do a lot of isometric holds.
Okay. Isometrics are good for building tendon strength, um, just strength in general, and without increasing fatigue as much.
Hmm.
So that way, if you got a meet coming up, you can train isometrics without feeling like you might be sore going into a meet, which makes sense.
So I mean, it kind of all depended on like what the program was. You feel me? But then again, I wasn't always there because of my class schedule.
Mm.
So I would have class in the middle of like a training session, and like my coach would always make me go to class instead of going to lifts. So You feel me? It was
Mm-hmm.
more or less like that. And then I would end up just doing my own lift, or I would just take whatever he put for me to do for lifts, and I'll do them at the gym. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So
The
the other thing that so again that's that's you training for track and sport. Obviously at the gym, most people that are going to most commercial gyms aren't playing any sports. They're just they're just I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight or my body fat's too high. My doctor says I gotta lose X, Y, and Z, right?
mhm.
In your case, you were doing track. I I've said this to you plenty of times, and I've been in the gym when people said it to you plenty of times. It seemed like when you started doing track, you were able to build more muscle, even though maybe you weren't lifting in the same way. Because you just said that you were doing more isometrics, plyos, and sprinting, right?
Yeah.
Even though you weren't necessarily lifting in the same way, it seemed to me that you were able to at least recompose your body. But it just seemed like you had more muscle mass. Do you think that's true? And do you think that if it is true, do you think that's because of the plyometrics and the sprinting, or was it because maybe the lifts that he had you doing were different?
So I feel like it was probably a mixture of like both in a sense. But definitely, most definitely was sprinting because before I did track, I was a lot more heavier. Like I had a lot more fat, but I still had a lot of muscle, but I just had a lot of fat too at the same time. You feel me? Like if I had to put in like body fat percentage, I probably was around like 25%. No, probably like 22, 23. And then probably by the time I finished, I stopped doing track. I was probably like a good like cut down to like at least 18%.
I had a feeling you were gonna say that, like high teens.
Yeah, high teens.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't that you put on more muscle. It's just you're saying that you just lost the body fat.
Yeah, in a sense. But I also did build a lot of more muscle, especially in my legs. I will say that. I did build a lot more leg strength for sure.
And so I know you had some injuries in the past. I don't know if you want to talk about what kind of injuries those were because you've told me on multiple occasions the injuries. If I don't know if you want to share, but
Yeah, sure.
do you feel like now that you started sprinting and doing track again, do you feel like do you feel like you've come back from those injuries? Was it holding you back in any way, or do you feel like you didn't even notice, or you weren't even thinking twice about the ankle injuries and stuff like that?
Nah, so right, here's the thing. I know for a fact, like so I ended up injuring both my ankles. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just at different times and in different ways, but they were the same, essentially the same injury. But when I was playing football, it was a lot more high impact on my ankles. But on top, not only that, I was a lot bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think before I started running track, I was maybe around I was tinkering like 195, 190. I was up there, you feel me? When I was playing football though, I was 200, like 205, 210. But I wasn't very muscular back then, you feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was athletic, but I wasn't very muscular. Like I still had to have a lot of body fat on me, especially the position I played, you feel what I'm saying? I was a running back. I was always getting hit, so I had to make sure that my weight was up there so I could essentially take a hit and not be in shambles. You feel me?
All right.
I could take a hit and be able to get up. You feel what I'm saying? That's why I was a lot more bigger.
Yeah.
You feel me? After I stopped playing, I slimmed down. I put on a lot more muscle in a sense, and yeah. But when I started running track, at first my ankles were definitely like my ankles were definitely a concern. I ain't gonna lie because my coach told me he's like yeah, I feel like you should warm up with ankle braces. I feel like you should get ankle braces just because, right? Just because like you don't want to re-injure your ankle
Right.
again. But in the same sense, it was more everything was a lot more linear. You feel what I'm saying? Like my movement was a lot linear. Like it was just straight. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, point A to point B, like you're just running down a straight line in track.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, when it came to football, it was a lot different use of my ankles because my ankles, I was always cutting. I had to
Right.
stop on a dime, and now doing that over time is gonna wear out. It's gonna wear out that muscle, right?
Well, I don't
And
even know
that's
if
where.
that's true because if you do it, if you could build a lot of strength cutting side
Mhm.
laterally, and you know, it's just you got to make sure that you're not getting injured because so the way you explained the injury to me, it was just someone landed on your ankle.
One of my ankles, yeah.
Right. So at least one of those injuries wasn't because you were doing extreme cutting or that you didn't have the dexterity in your ankle. It was just a situation where, again, football is a high contact sport. So it was just a situation of you got someone who's 200 plus pounds, all of that weight just falling on your ankle at the wrong angle, and that could be the difference.
Yep. And I mean, but that was for my left ankle. You feel me? But for my right ankle though, it was on me. Like I was cutting. I tried to do a rocker step. Essentially, I tried to do a rocker step, and then I low key kind of just overextended, but I planted crazy, and then after that, I my ankle said this, it said, and then after I flipped,
Mm.
I couldn't get back up. I had to get carted off that field. But like that one right there is mainly because like my ankle strength was probably not all the way there,
Mm-hmm.
like how it probably should have been. You feel me?
So
And
yeah, continue.
and like when it comes to that, when it comes to the difference between football and track is that I was running linearly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like from point A to point B, it's not bad. Like it's not high impact. It's not like I'm cutting, right? And over time, my ankle actually got very strong.
Yeah,
You feel what I'm saying? Over time, while doing track, my ankle got very strong, and it had less of a tendency to like you feel me move around in a weird way. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like I wasn't always sore in my ankles rather than when I was playing football, I was always sore my ankles. Like it was just like, but I was repeating it every single day.
yeah,
So I feel like it was a wear and tear aspect. It just one day I wasn't planting, I didn't plant right, and then I just you feel me. It just happened to be that.
yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
So, how many weeks into your track season did it take you to feel like confident in your ankle? Because I'm sure starting you were like, it was always
Yeah.
on the back of your head, like, dang, like I don't know how well this is gonna be for my ankle. How long until you was like confident, like, oh yeah, like it's not. It was a second thought.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. After like it was always like a back in my mind thing, like regardless, even up until like even like probably when I started, definitely it was like a concern. But then after a concern, it just went to the back of my mind where it's like, it's cool. I just have to make sure I stretch properly and just make sure to be cautious of what I'm doing. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Don't do nothing dumb, essentially. But like but I mean probably after like a month when I started you feel me started learning how to plant correctly, you feel me,
Mm-hmm.
run on the balls of my feet, stop running so like so down because like it's different, like it's not the same as football where I'm kind of low to the ground, like I kind of have to like run up.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? I have to run high or run tall, essentially.
Like you wouldn't run the same way in football, especially at the start of a play, because you think you might have to cut laterally at any moment, so you gotta be almost square to the line and low, and
Hmm.
that way you could also absorb impact or also just like protect the ball. So you want to be low and kind of hard to hit.
Yeah.
You wouldn't run like that in track. So
Nah, you wouldn't.
it just I understand what you're saying. You got to be high. It's just better form. You're more lengthened, full strides.
Yeah.
So
And those were on the days where I was just running. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't my main thing I was doing. I wasn't a sprinter. I was a thrower.
Yeah.
So kind of more or less like, you feel me? Like even though I was a thrower, I still had to run. You feel what I'm saying? I still had to sprint. But I just wasn't doing like long endurance or higher intensity as the sprinters. Like I would work in with the sprinters, but I wasn't mainly doing sprinter workouts. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so that's football. That's track. Again, conversation started with those. It's just I feel like people get caught in their ways of training. Like, yeah, it's a lot of there's some overlap between those two things because they're sport, and when you're training for sport, you might train in a certain fashion to develop power, develop speed, develop endurance. All those things are important in most sports. But there are people who go to the gym and aren't training in that way, or they've been training in one way for it's just bodybuilding, or like I've been training my biceps for a minute. Like there are people that sit in Nels camp. Me personally, I'm sure you can attest to this. I train in a lot of different facets. Like I was saying this earlier. Like I've spent time where all I was doing all year was doing just yoga. And then like I've had moments where it's like I would just deadlift and just do deadlifts. And then there's just like plyometrics with my gym. And do you feel like enough people do that at the gym, or do you think the trainers that we know or like the trainers that you see switch up their kind of camp of training, or are they stuck in one kind of mindset?
Now, I feel like people, and this is like a problem, right? Because I feel like people are just like stuck in like one lane. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like whether it be trainers, whether it be people at the gym, whether it be other trainers, whether it be our trainers, you feel me? It's like people just some people just stick to one
Mm-hmm.
thing they know. But I feel like they have to be able to adapt to different styles of training because they have different benefits for different things. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's as somebody that's trained in multiple different facets. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like when you get so close, so used to one thing, you're lacking in different areas that you probably would be able to like level up in a sense. You
Right.
feel me? If you just did those different things, like, you know how many people probably bodybuild, but they're just not mobile at all. You feel what I'm saying?
Built
After a
like a
while, after
block. Like you can,
yeah,
your body is only functional in one plane of motion.
yep,
You got no rotational skills. You can't run. When you run, you look like a square. You don't rotate at all. It's like that's not good. And then on top of that, you get people who they'll sit there and complain about how tight they feel. Oh, my hamstrings or like my hips, and don't do nothing to address it. So it's like
literally,
I can't knock them because at the end of the day, it's like I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you for getting into the gym, but there have been people I see that have been doing the same workouts for years, same exact thing. They don't never switch it up. It's just like I don't think that's good for anybody.
nah, it's not.
It's
It's
really
not.
not. It's a problem.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I know for a fact, like, there have been times where, like, I probably started, I probably, like, go use machines. Like, I could say for me, like, I started out at PF, the one next to Forest, right?
Hmm.
When I was over there, I was literally only using machines. And then after a while, like, probably like a couple months, that's when I started getting into, like, the dumbbells. You feel me? Started trying different stuff out, right?
Hmm.
And then I was off and on from the gym, but then when I started becoming more consistent, I started essentially powerlifting in a sense. Nah, not powerlifting, power building. So mix between powerlifting and bodybuilding, right?
Okay. So you're still trying to build muscle, but you're also still you're trying to be strong and max out some of your lifts.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, basically. But I ran into a problem where I was starting to become like demobile because I wasn't stretching and I wasn't moving the weight in a motion that's gonna build essentially more muscle recruitment that I was gonna utilize like throughout sports.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So that's when I started lifting athletically. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, now I know I gotta switch it up, right? Go different time, like different stuff, like different time periods. I'll do different things depending on what I'm trying to accomplish in that time. So like some days I'll do like for example, right? When I hit legs, I don't always hit legs the same way. Like I don't always just do squats,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I'll switch up my squat variation. So some days I'll do box squats where I just sit, I'll go down and then I'll sit and then I'll explode up.
Right.
Some days I'll go deeper with my squats till I get 90, right? And then some leg days I'll just try to utilize like a machine to target a certain muscle if I have to. You feel me? It
Mm-hmm.
just all depends on what I'm trying to do at that time. And I feel like people should switch it up because that's actually how you build more muscle. Is if you
Right.
if you, you want to keep the same routine, right? But after a while you want to switch it up. You feel me?
What I'd like to do is I usually go 8 to 12 weeks, like 3 months max, where I'm doing the same kind of workouts.
Hmm.
At the beginning of the year, well, really at the beginning of the year, I wasn't really working out much. It wasn't until I got out my last relationship that I started hitting the gym again. And people at the gym can attest to that. Like I kind of like I was falling off. And then I would say beginning of February, I started taking the gym a little bit more serious again. So again, we're at the end of March now. I started squatting again seriously, and over the course of the last, I want to say 6 weeks, I built my squat from. I went back down to 315, built it to the point where I could do 12 reps. As soon as I got to the point where I was doing more than 12 reps, I increased the weight to 265, built that up to the point where I was doing 10. Once I could do 10 for multiple sets comfortably, now I'm doing 385, and that's how I feel like it should be. My goal is to go. I think I'm gonna go mid-April or towards the end of April and just see how high I can get it. And then I'm switching it up. I haven't deadlifted in a while. I haven't really been doing as many plyometrics. So it's like, again, 3 months tops. I feel like you should only be doing, your program should only be 3 months long, really, before you switch it up. Or at least do a deload before you repeat it or something like that. People be doing the same and just lifting heavy every single week with no like goal in mind. Like, what are we working towards? I don't get it. I don't get it. Same, you just said it. You should switch it up. Maybe you're doing the same exercises for like 4 weeks. In my case, I go like 8 to 12, but maybe you're doing the same exercise for 4 weeks so that you can see progress. But if you continue after that, if you're going for 6 months doing the same exercise, you're gonna plateau. You're gonna stop seeing results. It's like, what are we working for? What are you just
Yeah.
here for the vibes, like, or you actually got goals? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like you gonna hit that wall, and then after that, like that's where a lot of people just lose motivation because
Yeah,
they stop seeing progress.
yeah. And
Like
then the
I've
same thing
seen
with
it
my
so
clients,
many
bro.
times. I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
Like I'll see people, they'll do the same workout for 6 weeks, right? And they'll start seeing progress, but then after the 6 week mark, it's like they just stop seeing progress.
Uh huh.
But like they'll keep going And then after that, like you'll just start seeing them less and less until finally you just don't see them at all. Till like I don't know, probably 3 months later,
Hmm.
lose mad progress, and then after that they'll be like, "Yeah, I gotta get back on it."
And then
Do the
they'll go
same
back into
thing,
the same exactly. They do the same
same
exact
exact
shit.
cycle, bro.
It's really
It'd be
sad.
crazy.
And they be nervous to try new things. Like I remember the first time I tried Nordic curls, I was kind of nervous. I'm like, I didn't even trust it. It took me a year and a half before I felt like confident and I could do a full rep.
Hmm.
And so it's like I bring up Nordic curls to people and they look at me like I'm talking with four eyes. Like they're like, "What are you?
Nah,
You got two
what?
heads? Like what? You don't want to try a new hamstring exercise? I guarantee you it's probably gonna be good, and you feel it in your glutes too. I be telling women all the time, like you do this exercise, not only are you gonna be stronger, you complain about your knees hurting, but it's probably gonna help you, get that look that you're trying to achieve. But people be
Nah,
nervous to try new things, bro.
nah. Here's the thing, right? When it comes to trying new things, I know exactly what that feeling, bro. And it's not even the fact that I'm nervous. It's just like most people just don't want to look dumb. Like that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like I feel like people just don't want to look stupid doing something. Like first time I tried Nordics, now granted I was by myself. I wasn't gonna try it with nobody around, but I just wanted to try it. You
Hmm.
feel me?
Yeah.
I tried doing it. I couldn't get back up. I said, you know what? Nope. I said nope. I grabbed a rubber band. I grabbed a band, a resistant band. I put it around. I put it around my
Your
right here,
chest. Oh
around
yeah.
my shoulder
Yeah.
in here, and I did it again. I started feeling. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
But now, you know how like dumb it may look in your head, but like in reality, not many people can actually do it themselves. You feel me?
Hmm.
So if you look dumb, if you think like to yourself that you look dumb doing it, then like I don't know what to tell you. Like most people, like there's a chance most people probably can't do that. I ain't gonna lie.
Right, but there's ways to modify it. Like when I first started, I was using a Bosu ball. So,
Yeah,
bro, I don't know. Only because there's way to modify it. There's ways to go about modifying it and making it easy, and also it's gonna keep it more entertaining for you. So you feel like you're getting stuck in a little routine, you're stopping seeing progress. Try some new. People are just so caught up in how they look and how people perceive them. It's like ain't nobody thinking about you. Don't nobody. Everybody in here thinking about themselves, bro. I hate that idea.
yeah.
It's like, why do you think everybody in the gym's worried about you? Like, stop being so egotistical and just go get in. Keep the vibes. You keep a smile on your face, be positive, and just go about your workout. Um, bro, we only got one more minute on this Zoom call. That shit about to cut us off, bro. Any last words for the people?
Hey, bro, you feel me? Yo, if you think you're gonna look stupid doing something, bro, just do it. Like I ain't gonna lie, just do it. Like yeah, whatever the Nike check, yeah, just do it.
There you go, man. I appreciate you hopping on the call with me, bro.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
probably edit this one up, put it up.
Word.
Word, man. All right, man. Have a good night, man.
Hey, bro, y'all stay up. Have a good night, my guy. Feel
Word.
me? About to hop on this card. You know what I'm saying?
He was waiting.